Hello, this is the Drunk Duck Quackcast video cast. This is Ozone Ocean here, right here, and Pitface up there. And,
Hello again.
and Banes in his best fuzzy furry orange pelt. Hello, Banes.
Hello.
Let's talk about fonts for comics.
Because we haven't talked about that at all yet today. Not at all.
Never. This is a subject.
Not at all. The more
totally new to all of us. So, Banes, you would use Comic Sans, is that right?
I think Comic Sans is the best. It's got comic right in the title. Why wouldn't you use that?
Well, I wouldn't use it because the fonts are kerned wrongly. They're too far apart. The letters are too far apart. And they look wrong. So, Banes, you're an idiot.
You know what? None of what you said makes any sense, but I like the cut of your jib. I'm going to go with that. I think you're right.
Let's not use Comic Sans ever for comics.
All right, I'll go back to Courier.
Courier New. That's a great font.
when I took a web test and it tried to find out what kind of font I am, it's a person and I'm a career.
I did that, and it said I was Mizzo because I'm the coolest of the cool. And I thought, yeah, that's right. I am really, really cool. So I'm Mizzo. I've never heard of that font. I never used it.
Told me I was a wingding.
You are a wingding.
You are a wingding.
That's a perfect result. All right, general rules for fonts for comics. You'll notice they're always in all caps. That's the style. It's always something informal. Normally, you don't want to use all caps for fonts when you're writing stuff because you're normally writing in like big paragraphs. That's how we write in text. But for that kind of style of writing, your eyes cannot rest anywhere. They have to sort of continue along this big paragraph. And because all caps don't give you any kind of variation, you can sort of get lost unless you read the whole thing. But for comics, text is encapsulated in a little font bubble, so you don't have to worry about that aspect of it. So all caps works fantastic, so it's fine to use in comics. So that's a good thing. Informal, so it has to look like handwritten sort of style. So that's something we like to see in comics. That's why people gravitate towards Comic Sans, because it's sort of in that style, but then again, it's not really. So you want to go to blambot.com to look for a good kind of dialogue font. And he makes it, the guy who does Blambot, fantastic guy, we all love him. He makes it really easy. He has fonts in categories like for dialogue, for titles, for whatever. He has different things. Sound effects. So go there to look for the best kind of styles of fonts. Personally, I use Digital Strip. Anime Ace is another good one. Zadjuice is another good font. They all look informal and they're great for dialogues.
Easy
Dialogue.
readability. Yeah.
Readability, that's it. So readability is another thing. You don't want your fonts to be too small. The pixel is the smallest unit of measure on a screen. You want to take that into account when you're doing a comic page. You don't want it to be so small that it's going to be unreadable because it's too pixelated. So you don't want your fonts to be too detailed. So serifs are a bad thing. So Times New Roman, that kind of stuff, that's not good for fonts. The ultimate thing for fonts for comics is hand lettering. So if you're really good, you can do your own hand lettering style and turn that into a font, like the digital version of whatever your hand lettering style is. So you can spell check it and lay it out in whatever style you like. Some people have done that, but that's you have to be really good to do that. And the ultimate style is to do completely hand lettering. Each time you do your text for your speech bubbles, all hand lettering. Pitface, you are the expert in that. Tell us about it, please.
Well, anybody could do it really with practice. I mean, there's no big secret to it. What I recommend is learning your alphabet again. And by relearning the alphabet, I don't mean, of course, what is A, B, C, D and stuff like that, but like learn how to write your letters in a controlled way. It's kind of hard to explain, but just kind of learn how to rewrite the alphabet, and then use lining if it helps. Keeps your lettering straight. Make sure guidelines, yeah, and make sure the spaces, the blank spaces in between the guidelines aren't too big, even if you use digital fonts, because that can kind of destroy the spacing in your speech bubble. And make sure that the text doesn't encroach on the edging of the speech bubble. You want to be kind of compact in there and in its own space, and not at all claustrophobic. So take your time. Anybody could learn it if they try. And doesn't mean your actual handwriting gets any better. My real handwriting sucks, but just practice it. Maybe I'll make a tutorial or something and just kind of show. It's hard to explain.
That'd be a good idea, because I think that's the reason why you use all caps, because originally all lettering in comics was hand-lettered, and all caps is the most readable way to do that without keeping your style consistent.
Yeah.
And the same height, because mixed caps, you're always going down a size and then up a size and stuff like that. So in all caps, everything's the same size. You can be very regular, and you can make it look consistent and look good. And that's what you managed to do somehow, some freaky way. You've managed to.
I'm just magical text fairy princess.
Yeah, you've achieved perfection that not many of us can do.
Man. Dig back into that alphabet, learn it again. And if you haven't learned it yet for the first time, there's a song that can help you do that.
But the thing is, I mean, most of us who do webcomics, we do it mostly digitally. I mean, even if you do scan work, you don't put the fonts, you don't put all the speech bubbles in. You put that all in afterwards, after you've scanned it, and then you go further on in the process. But you work mostly on pen and paper, and that's where you do the text on pen and paper, don't you? So it's a slightly different thing. You don't do it digitally. So you think that makes it a bit easier to do it that way?
For me personally, because that's a matter of convenience. Like, I'm a digital artist anyway, so it would be harder for me to make a page and then go back and try to fit the text in there if I go and make it on a software system or something like that. Because it's just kind of an extra pain in the ass. Why would I do that when I can just do it with what I'm already doing? And two, it can be harder to make the dialogue in the dialogue box itself, or balloon, actually fit in a good area in the page. It's because you have to kind of separate the two things in thought if you do it like that. So for me, it's just a matter of convenience. It's what I've always done ever since I was a little shit, coming home from grade school and sitting on the couch and getting a piece of paper and drawing and making little comics. So it's what I'm used to. It's what I got good at, and it's what makes sense for me. It might not make sense for somebody who's making a fully digital comic to make hand lettering, but try it. Maybe you'll find something new. Maybe you will forge the way in comic fonts.
I mean, you have a streamlined process, and that works. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. You've been fantastic. Hopefully
You've been Ozone Ocean.
I have. thank you, Pitt, and thank you, Banes. Hopefully this Drunked Up Quackcast 247 works. All right, that's a wrap.